Do you think someone you're dating might have an avoidant attachment style? In this video, I'm sharing 10 signs you can look for. I'm Rose Viggiano, master level relationship coach, attachment specialist, and somatic practitioner. My goal with this channel is to help you build connected, loving, passionate, and secure relationships, and those start in the dating process. I believe you can build a secure relationship no matter your age, and even if you've never had a secure relationship before. I've taught secure dating skills to hundreds of clients over the years, and this question comes up over and over. How can I tell if someone I'm dating is avoidant? So in this video, I'm going to lay out some of the most obvious signs. Before we jump in, I want to tell you 3 important things. First, folks with avoidant attachment aren't necessarily bad. They can have a lot of good qualities too. They're great in a crisis, they're focused and determined. They're able to stay calm in many situations. The question is, if they're working on healing the parts of their attachment style that keep them from emotional intimacy and connection, and from creating a secure, functioning relationship with you. Secondly, attachment is on a spectrum. So even if you do have an insecure attachment style, it might not be that severe. So just having avoidant attachment doesn't mean it will show up in ways that debilitate the relationship. And third, attachment styles play off each other. So if you are highly anxious, that will likely push an already avoidant person into deeper avoidant behavior. And if you are showing up with a lot of avoidant traits, it will push an anxious partner further into their anxious side. So just as important as spotting someone who's avoidant is getting to know your own attachment style and how those two play together. And if you're dating and looking to build a secure relationship, join me here and hit subscribe. I love supporting love. If you're new to attachment, let me give you a quick rundown of what an avoidant attachment style can look like in dating. Avoidant attachers can be emotionally distant. They prefer to work through issues themselves. Being vulnerable is a challenge for them. They are overly self-reliant, value independence, and don't like to ask for help or accept it. They need alone time, especially when it comes to processing feelings. They are more attuned to themselves and their own needs than others, and they often struggle to express empathy and recognize the needs of their partners. If you want a truly secure relationship, these traits need attention. A secure relationship requires a foundation of trust, open communication, emotional safety, and mutual respect. It involves both partners feeling confident in expressing their needs and being responsive to each other's emotions. That means the ability to be vulnerable is a must. A secure relationship thrives on the balance between individual autonomy and the willingness to depend on each other for support. If the person you're dating has an avoidant adaptation, but they are working on it and really want a relationship like this, there is hope. But if they don't, it might be better to move on. Let's jump into the 10 signs that the person you're dating might have an avoidant attachment style. Sign number 1. They were left alone a lot in their childhood. Listen closely when they talk about their childhood. Typically, avoidants will say they had a great childhood. It's part of the denial of their feelings. Not feeling was how they survived. So you need to read between the lines of what you hear them share. They may describe a childhood where they had to be independent and self-sufficient from a young age, and that they were left alone frequently, either physically or emotionally, and their parents were busy or distant or unemotional. They may say things like, "We didn't really talk about feelings in my family," or "Showing emotions wasn't something we did." That means that emotional openness and support wasn't modeled for them. They may have learned it from others or through their own healing work, but it didn't come from childhood. So now you want to pay extra attention to what they've done to heal and show up differently from what they saw growing up. Sign number 2, they don't prioritize outside relationships or getting together with you. Avoidant folks tend to put other aspects of their life above relationships, like work, hobbies, or even just me time. You might notice they don't have many close relationships. Or they have friends, lots of friends, so many friends that they are not able to date. They always have something going on. In dating, they may often reschedule or cancel plans last minute, saying something came up at work or they're just too tired to get together. Or they let you reach out first and plan all the dates. If their schedule always seems full and you're left wondering where you fit in, it might be that prioritizing closeness feels like giving up their autonomy. And so you'll have to do all the work to keep the relationship going. Sign number 3, they value independence and criticize healthy dependency. Avoidant attachers see self-reliance as a core value and often view dependency in relationships as a sign of weakness. They may make comments like, I don't want to feel tied down, or I respect people who can handle things on their own. In a dating profile, phrases such as looking for someone low maintenance or no drama please are subtle indicators that they value independence over connection. They might suggest that relying on others is a sign of weakness or immaturity. For example, they could criticize people who openly express their needs or emotions as being needy and dependent. This perspective is often rooted in their own history of vulnerability being unsafe. While it's normal to seek some level of autonomy, avoidant attachers take it to an extreme. Sign number 4, they never ask for help and have a hard time accepting it when you offer. The person you're dating might be avoidant if they quickly dismiss any offers of help with phrases like, I'm fine, or don't worry, I've got it covered. This happens even when they're clearly struggling. If you insist on helping, they might react with discomfort, irritation, or even defensiveness. If they do accept help, they might feel the need to repay the favor immediately to balance the scales. Any way to avoid feeling indebted or emotionally vulnerable. When they do seek help, they often prefer it to be practical or task-oriented rather than emotional. For example, they might be okay with asking for help to move a couch, but not emotional support when they're going through a hard time. Sign number 5, it's difficult for them to express emotion. This one can be hard to spot in early dating. It can take time to go deep with a new person. That's okay. But look for these subtle and not so subtle signs that it's not just about needing time to get to know each other. It's avoidant attachment. Someone with avoidant attachment might consistently steer the conversations away from emotionally charged topics. When you try to go deeper with them, they just won't. And when the subject of feelings comes up, they change the subject or they laugh it off, saying, I try not to let things affect me. Avoidant attachers are generally difficult to talk to about what they're looking for in a partner. I don't know, just someone nice. Or they highlight the importance of compatibility in activities rather than emotional intimacy. I want someone who enjoys hiking or traveling. It's also difficult for them to answer where the relationship stands, saying things like, I don't like labels, or I'm just looking to have fun and see where things go. All of this can be really stressful or even infuriating. Let's pause for a moment. I want to give you a tool that can really help your dating experience. It's called the Dating Blueprint, and today I'm giving it to you for free. I'll link to it in the description of this video. If you're dating or planning to, it's a resource you don't want to miss. Sign number 6, they send mixed signals. As a born and raised New Yorker, I am not a fan of mixed signals. I like to know how someone really feels and have that show up in their actions. Of course, that didn't stop me from dating avoidant folks over the years. So how do you know if you're getting mixed signals? It often looks like this. When you meet them, they're really excited to get together. They plan dates and are very responsive. Then, after a few dates or even a few months, they don't get back to you as often. You're in a text conversation and they suddenly drop off. They suggest plans, but then don't follow up or confirm those plans. And you're left wondering on the day of if the date is even happening and if you should be the one to reach back out and confirm. Then days or weeks later, they say something like, "Where have you been?" They might even say you're the one being non-committal. Their behavior makes you think you two are a couple. They show affection in public, meet your friends, discuss the future, are intimate, but when you ask them directly, they say it's too soon to commit or they're not looking for anything serious. These are mixed signals. Sign number 7. They get overwhelmed by your emotional needs. Folks with avoidant attachment can get easily overwhelmed when asked to show up around emotional needs. You may notice they pull away when you express deeper needs for connection or support. For instance, you may need reassurance about how they feel or where the relationship is headed. If they are really avoidant, they may become distant at that point, or even tell you you're too much or shouldn't need so much validation when you're asking a simple question. When you attempt to discuss a need or a feeling, an avoidant might change the subject or make light of it or make jokes. Or they may physically distance themselves, like leaving the room or pulling out their phone to scroll. Common responses to your big emotions might be, "You're overreacting," or "It's not that big a deal," or even, "I can't handle this right now. This is too much." Sign number 8, they undershare important details. A very common avoidant adaptation is to minimize or completely leave out important details, even when it affects you. Like they neglect to tell you about a work trip they're taking, or a friend's birthday dinner they were going to invite you to. "Oh, but it's tonight." Or you have plans with them, but then hear about other things they have that day without directly addressing the conflict with the plans you already have with them. Totally crazy making. An avoidant attacher may not want to share about their day. When you ask, "How was your day?" they might respond with, "It was fine," and then move on. They won't give you details about their day or what they experienced or how they felt. And then they underplay current events in their life. A family contact, a health concern, or even a big promotion. They'll avoid sharing it entirely or act like it's no big deal. Since they idealize their childhood, if you ask about certain events or how something impacted them from their past, an avoidant person might give short or vague answers, such as, "It wasn't great," or, "Well, that was a long time ago," even for seemingly life-changing events. And finally, an avoidant attacher may not share how they genuinely feel about the relationship, whether positive or negative, whether they've developed strong feelings or they have doubts. They may choose to keep those thoughts private instead of communicating them to you. Sign number 9, they are highly sensitive to criticism. Avoidant attachers are often highly sensitive to criticism and they fear getting things wrong. So they might shy away from deep conversations or sensitive subjects where it's possible they'll get it wrong. They won't bring them up or engage when you try to. If you share your thoughts and feelings related to something they're doing that you don't like, they may downplay your feedback, like you're making a big deal out of nothing. Instead of engaging with your feelings, an avoidant person may emotionally shut down or withdraw from the conversation, saying things like, "I don't want to talk about this," or they'll just change the subject. You also might notice them become highly defensive when you voice a concern. If you say, "I wish you'd share more about your day," they respond with, "I don't know why you need to hear that," or "I don't want to rehash my day. It's over. I just want to move on." An avoidant person might deflect by criticizing you in return. If you complain they didn't communicate their plans clearly, they might reply with something like, "Well, you didn't tell me where you were going last weekend either." This tactic shifts the focus away from their behavior to avoid them feeling vulnerable. Finally, They may perceive a neutral or even supportive comment from you as a criticism. For example, if you suggest trying a different approach to a problem they're having, they might hear it as you saying you think they're doing it wrong, and you will get a negative reaction back from them. Sign number 10, they under-process conflict. Whereas someone with an anxious attachment pattern will over-process conflict, the avoidant attacher tries to brush it under the rug or handle it quickly. And by the way, if you identify as an anxious attacher, check out my video here with strategies to heal anxious attachment. So for avoidant attachers, it's hard for them to sit with your hurt feelings. Again, they see it as a criticism or a blame or something they've done wrong. They may want to resolve conflict as fast as they possibly can, so they'll downplay the issue. It's not a big deal. Let's just move on. Or yeah, sorry about that, without really exploring their part in the issue. When conflict does arise, they might propose a quick fix that doesn't address the root of the issue. I'll just stop doing that without exploring why the behavior occurred or understanding your feelings. Then after the conflict, they might act as if nothing happened, avoiding any follow-up discussions. They won't check in with you to see how you're feeling, leaving the issue unresolved. So those are my 10 signs that someone you're dating has an avoidant attachment style. These behaviors may not show up right away. It can take a few months or even longer to really see them, but pay attention to the subtle signs from the beginning. Usually at the end of a relationship, we can look back and see the things that didn't work and that they were present all along. We just didn't notice them. And one final note, if you're watching this thinking, I might have an avoidant attachment style, that's okay. It's an adaptation and it can be changed. Learn to take contrary action and work to heal your attachment system. You can still create a secure relationship and move past the patterns that block you. If you're not sure which attachment style you have, check out my other video where I break down the different attachment styles. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe and let's connect, because what we can't do alone, we can do together.